that mustache all over it.
Just get on it.
Yeah, no, I had to share a mustache. I just told you guys before. Okay, so I had to share my microphone with a mustachioed cowboy the other day, and I don't like sharing my microphone with anybody. And this guy had been smoking cigars and drinking beers all day, and was like, "Hey, partner, can I use your microphone?" And I was like, "Yeah, buddy, sure." Oh. I couldn't believe he couldn't see on my face the look of like, what?
Fear.
Just, yeah, like, anyways. Yeah. Nice guy. Really good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, just great guy.
He's a great guy. He really is. And also, it was very extra funny for me to watch that whole scenario play out, knowing all of what was happening.
Okay, we should probably delete that. We should actually edit that part out. Not like last time when I'm like, well, we're going to edit this out, right? Oh, yeah, we'll edit it out, buddy. Go ahead. Rambling away like an idiot.
It worked. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy!
Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Welcome back to It's a Conspiracy, the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. As always, we will do our best to explain these without offering opinions on validity, accuracy, etc. until the end of the episode where we will give a brief opinion or comment on each. I'm your host, Andrew, and I'm by no means an expert on any subject we are going to discuss, but I'm just simply interested in knowing what it is that the supporters of these theories believe. Everything presented here was gathered online and is probably full of holes because A, I'm a bit of an idiot, B, these things change all the time, and it's impossible to know what things will look like by the time this comes out. Never mind at some point in the future, if you're listening to this like 2 years from now, oof, just imagine what the future beholds. People in rocket packs. Yeah, you can just crush up your cans and put them in the back of your car and fly away. Joining me again today is my good friend Charlie and my good friend Greg. You guys want to say hey?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. These two, quote, gentlemen, quote, will be presented with a few selected theories and will interject as they see fit.
Who are you quoting?
What?
Who are you quoting?
We're also going to try out a new segment a little later on in the podcast. I've always wanted to say this. A quick bit of housekeeping. We are definitely interested in getting sponsorship, so please do get in touch via the It's a Conspiracy Twitter, which the handle, this is a bit confusing, but the handle for Twitter is it a conspiracy? At Twitter. I know. That was available.
At Twitter?
Yeah,
That's not how that works.
At Is It a Conspiracy? And the funny thing about that is our Twitter account is run by this insane Irishman. There's also the email account, It's a Conspiracy at Proton Mail, and there's a SoundCloud page, there's a Facebook. I'll do all the social media stuff in the end, but yeah. All right, on with the show. Charlie, Greg, as always, always being thrice. I would like to point out that I'll try to include a bunch of references in the episode description, and hopefully I reference that later on, but yeah. Hashtag bit of an idiot. So yeah, okay. All right, now I know Greg's heard of these, so I'm just gonna stick with Charlie here. Okay, so Charlie, with a yes or no,
let's do this.
Can you tell me if you've heard of these, if any of these theories here? The Ancient Aliens theory.
Oh hell yeah, I love that show.
All right, wait, what? Not the Fukushima cover-up.
Nope.
Okay, now this one's a bit odd because I know you've heard of one of the people referenced in the title, but think of the thing of its entire whole here.
Whole.
Keanu Reeves is an immortal being of pure light and benevolence.
Sort of.
So you're familiar with this.
Parts of that, I think, yeah.
Sounds okay. First subject, Ancient Aliens. In 1968, the book Chariots of the Gods by German writer Erich von Daniken was released. It involves the hypothesis that the technologies and religions of many ancient civilizations were given to them by ancient astronauts who were welcomed as gods and who procreated with humans to create a ruling lineage line of alien-human hybrids. Charlie, do you remember when we talked about alien-human hybrids before? There was the...
Was it the lizard people?
The reptile people.
Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki or the Artons. Yeah. So once again, we have a human-alien hybrid. Von Daniken suggests that some ancient structures and artifacts appear to represent higher technological knowledge than is presumed to have existed at the times they were manufactured. Artifacts like the Egyptian pyramids, Incan or pre-Incan statues, Stonehenges, and the statues of Easter Island are examples of artifacts that were produced either by extraterrestrial visitors or by humans who learned the necessary knowledge from them being the aliens. Further examples include a medieval map known as the Piri Reis map. I'm probably saying that wrong. Which von Daniken describes as showing the Earth as it is seen from space.
Which you're definitely saying right.
I'm nailing that. It's probably seen from space. And this map has a detailed outline of the continent of Antarctica, which wasn't actually charted out until the 19th century. It was also, the map was drawn in like 15 something. Greg, do you remember
No, I don't exactly remember the year.
Okay.
I don't even remember who like drew the map, but it's like one of the main focuses of like there was alien technology.
There was alien technology because how else could they have a map of Antarctica?
Exactly.
So he says, yeah, they had a map of Antarctica, and Antarctica in medieval times was frozen over. So it would have been a drawing from earlier. This book also suggests that ancient artwork throughout the world could be interpreted as depicting astronauts, air and space vehicles, extraterrestrials, and complex technology. Artwork such as the ancient Japanese dogu figurines look like little astronauts with little hats, little mitts, and 3,000-year-old carvings in the Egyptian New Kingdom temple look like they depict helicopter-like machines. I think it's in Temple of Doom, perhaps. No, it's in the Last Crusade. No, it's in. There's an Indiana Jones movie where he goes.
The Crystal Skull.
No, it's not
one of those.
It's not the Crystal Skull. It's not the Young Indiana Jones. It's man, that show was no good. Holy, the Young Indiana Jones thing, no good.
There was a Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's a bad 90s.
River Phoenix, right?
No, that was like the rat.
No, that was the part in.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the
Last Crusade.
Young Indiana Jones had the guy from that show where those Irish guys kill everybody. The Boondock Saints. Yeah, one of those guys played a young Indiana Jones where he killed everybody, and then every once in a while he'd like help out with a play and like fall in love and kill everybody. Yeah, anyways, where was I going with? Oh yeah, so one of the Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones is just, going into some like creepy cavern or something like that, and there's a drawing of C-3PO and R2-D2 on the wall, just blooping around. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's not part of this theory here, but that's just such a great movie, man. Those movies. The book goes on to suggest that the origins of religions, including interpretations of the Old Testament of the Bible, are reactions to contact with an alien race. Examples include the giants discussed in Genesis, the fallen angels, Ezekiel's vision of the angels and the wheels, which is where the title of the book comes from, which von Daniken interprets as a description of a spacecraft, the Ark of the Covenant, which is explained as a communication device with an alien race, and the destruction of Sodom by fire and brimstone, which is interpreted as a nuclear explosion. Now, this is kind of a new part of it here. So one fascinating development is the discovery of a mysterious new pyramid in Antarctica. This has led supporters of the theory to claim that Antarctica was the hub of these ancient aliens and perhaps the central location of humans that colonized the world. The fact that the continent had been covered by a massive ice sheet would indicate that this is a site thousands of years old and that all alien society remains are just waiting there to be discovered. Many have claimed that Antarctica is actually the fabled Atlantis. So there's a mountain. Oh, sorry. I don't want to say it's a mountain. There's a pyramid coming out of the snow in Antarctica, and people are like, oh, look at that. It's a pyramid. This is proof. And once again, I have a bit of an undying love for Alien versus Predator 2. I believe they go to a pyramid. You guys remember this? No? What's going to just
That was the second one?
That was the second one, yeah. Yeah. They were both no good, but the second one, man.
No, that was Alien versus Predator.
Might have been the first one. And Lance Henriksen was there?
Oh, I don't remember the actors. It's not like they were that famous.
The dude that... He was the robot that got ripped apart in Aliens.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's like, he had the tail come out of his chest.
Right.
And he started spitting milk everywhere. He's like, "Rawr, rawr. I'm full of milk and noodles."
That's all you get to eat out there.
I can't, yeah. All right.
Here's your milk and noodles.
Here's your milk and noodles, robot.
Replicant.
Yeah, replicant. Yeah, sorry. He's not just a robot. He has rights. So Antarctica could actually be Atlantis. There were previous suggestions of ancient aliens, but Chariots of the Gods was definitely the book that launched the discussion into the 20th century conversation. Authors since, like Lloyd Pye, have taken this concept further and used examples of pre-Incan civilizations and proof of human-alien hybrids in order to show how far-reaching the influence is. Lloyd Pye claims that the aliens started interbreeding with humans and gradually lost their alien shape, but some of the traits are still obvious today. There's one here that if I can get through this without laughing, then I want you both just to be really proud of me here. Okay, here's the first one. One missing link is the famous Starchild skull, which is a great 80s metal album, Starchild Skull, which I'll include a picture of in the episode description. It was found in Mexico, and this elongated, malformed skull has been DNA tested. They can tell it's human, but it has a bunch of odd characteristics. The skull is clearly a child's and yet has a much larger brain capacity than a typical human child. The eye sockets are much larger, there's no sinus cavity, and the part where the spine goes in is shaped differently. So if you imagine the alien gray, so if you imagine what that skull looks like, it'd be that's the Starchild skull. Starchild. And so they found one, and we'll talk about that in opinion time, but he's man, that's proof right there. And another claim of alien influence is the presence of red hair in humans. Red hair, allegedly a mutant gene, is very common amongst European royalty and is an odd cultural phenomenon. Now, we all know someone, we know that, the gingers are people. They're people too, yet there's something a little off. So here's a quote from an article explaining that redheads are the remaining children of aliens from Atlantis who at one point controlled the world. I'm a bit of a ginger myself, so this is really hits home. Speaking my language, yeah. I'd have to take my pants off to prove that, but I'm going to keep my pants on. Anyway, there is another race that has branched off from this giant race, the red-haired Lyrans. Their red hair was strawberry blonde in color, the skin tone very, very fair. These entities had a difficulty exposing their skin to certain frequencies of natural light. Do you guys know Harold Parley? That guy could burn on a winter night, full moon winter night, and he's like, the sun! Due to the planet that they sprung from, some of these were giant in stature, though there were some who were average human size. Eye color was generally light to what you would now consider green, though it is a different quality of green than you see upon your world. These entities were some of the first Lyran pioneers. Pioneers is a very kind word because they were from many worlds and were taking over. They were just taking over everybody.
Just like what happened when the Europeans came over to North America.
Kind of like what happened when the Europeans came over to North America. They just took over, and it was their red heads that made that happen. Yeah. And their horrible, horrible diseases. Well, to some degree, we are speaking about the distant past as they interacted with your Earth plane. These entities still exist, but are much fewer in number. We would say that the closest mythological remnants are in your Norse mythology, like Vikings. Some of that mythology was about actual Earth beings who were either influenced by or interacted with this red-headed Lyran strain. Now, this is the part where I'm... okay. There are also a number of accounts, such as the Villa Boas incident in Brazil, and a number of accounts from Turkey, where abducted men recount being taken and forced to have intercourse with an alien female who, among other startling features, had bright red pubic hair. Van Daniken also spans around 1/3 of the book, discussing the possibility that humans could theoretically offer primitive civilizations on interstellar worlds advanced technology by the year 2100. That's coming up. This would, he writes, mimic the ancient terrestrial contact Van Daniken believed to have happened on Earth. So he's like they planted the seed, we became human hybrids, and then the people with red pubic hair are going to make another brave new world somewhere else and change, shape another planet.
Did you find out when these guys were doing this in Brazil? Did it say?
This is so the Villa Via Boas. I'm not exactly sure how to say that. Whatever it is, I don't know what date it was, but that was like the first thing the guy said. He's like, I don't know. All I can remember is bright red pubic hair. So, yeah,
Was the follow-up question, does the carpet match the drapes?
Well, there was amongst other features. So apparently it was a bald female. So I'm like, how did you know it was a female? Because
You'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know. Yeah. Yeah, so that is Ancient Aliens. All right. Well, we got this sweet-ass bottle here called Hopbot. Yeah, Hopbot from Hop City Brewing. It's pretty sweet. This is what we are drinking today. And it was made in Brampton, Ontario. And St. John, New Brunswick. Yeah. Are you from out east?
Yeah, I'm from Moncton.
You're from Moncton?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Born in Edmonton, but I grew up in Moncton.
You could put those together like Edmonton.
Well, see the way Moncton's spelled, it's almost like there's a silent G in it already. Moncton. Yeah.
Mung.
And you're gonna do that for like the rest of your life.
Every time I say it.
Yeah.
Moncton sure is nice this time of year.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's such a nice place. Even just saying Moncton is just kind of like a. Let me grab that.
It's like
blanket.
a warm hug.
It's like a nice warm hug. It's the opposite of a mustachioed cowboy grabbing your microphone.
Well, he did ask you permission to grab your microphone.
He did. He was
first.
very nice about it. He's like, you don't
consent to the microphone grabbing.
Using your microphone here, little saddle hand. I'm like, oh sure, buddy. You betcha. Okay. Well, I mean that was the vibe he had, right? Like it was a. Second subject is the Fukushima cover-up. On March 11th, 2011, there was a massive tsunami following the Tohoku, I hope I'm saying that right, earthquake, which measured 9.01. That struck Okuma, Fukushima in Japan. Immediately after the earthquake, the reactors at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant shut down their sustained fission reactors. However, the emergency generators that would cool the reactors as they were shutting down was disabled by the tsunami. This lack of cooling led to 3 consecutive nuclear meltdowns and the release of radioactive material from March 12th to 15th. A 4th reactor was also affected but did not melt down. Subsequent investigations from Japanese authorities determined that the problem was foreseeable and that the Tokyo Electric Power Company had failed to meet basic safety standards. One of these things was that this nuclear plant was allegedly built on a fault line, like right where the...
Oh, that sounds like just good planning.
Just good planning, right? They're like, no, nothing else there. Great place for a nuclear power plant.
Plate tectonics.
Yeah, I know, right? This meltdown was the most significant nuclear incident since the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 and the second disaster to be given the level 7 event classification of the International Nuclear Event Scale. There officially have been no fatalities officially linked to the incident, and both the UN and World Health Organization have officially claimed there will be. They're saying this. I don't know how they could know. They're like, there will be no miscarriages, stillbirths, or rises in physical or mental disorders in babies born since the incident. Like they weren't like there weren't any. They're saying there will be no. Like yeah, we can tell. The plant continues to operate to this day, and there are plans to open up a number of other nuclear plants by 2025, despite international calls against this measure. This has been the center of a number of conspiracy theories, mainly revolving around an international cover-up by Japanese Parliament, the UN, the WHO, and nuclear power lobbyists all over the world. Charlie, are you a nuclear lobbyist?
Not really.
Okay,
no.
Greg, do you belong to the WHO?
Who's asking?
Well, okay, sorry. We'll talk about that later on. Who's asking? Bloody UHL going finger here. In recent years, the Japanese government has been trying to get former residents to return to the towns near the nuclear power plant through offers of compensation, new housing, continued assistance, etc. Dr. Keith Baverstock, a radiation... That's a great name. I'm going to say that again. Dr. Keith Baverstock.
Dr. Baverstock?
That's rad. And he's also a radiation health expert. Wow. So, like, it's rad... He
came in with a power name.
Yeah, he came in with a power name for sure. He's the expert at the World Health at the time disaster, told Sun UK Online, relatively few people have taken up this offer, even though there is a threat. It may even now be a fact that their compensation will cease. So he's like, look, nobody wants to move back to the place where the nuclear plant was melted down, where 3 reactors melted down.
Yeah, go figure.
This is pretty sweet, and we're gonna get we'll get some appropriate music behind it here. In March of 2017, a robot called the Scorpion, oh come on, was developed to send into the reactors to collect data for TEPCO and the investigating authorities. TEPCO is the Tokyo Electric Power Company organization. These robots, capable of penetrating the most dangerous parts of Fukushima Daiichi's reactors, spent enough time. They were designed to spend enough time down there to collect the crucial data. Have been a major source of contention. The Scorpion, so called because of its camera-mounted folding tail, and like, come here, and like shoots it out and grabs its foes, died after stalling along a rail beneath the reactor pressure vessel.
No.
And they're like, its path was blocked by lumps of fuel and other debris. So the official story was like, it can't get through. There's stuff in the way. And all the conspiracy, the supporters of the theory were like, it melted down and died because there's so much radiation. So its last recorded level before being abandoned, because no one could go in to get it. So it's still there.
Oh, it's like Spock.
It's Spock. Just leave me. Oh,
Is it the good of the many? Or
oh,
something?
the good of the many. Yeah. So Scorpion Spock. Before it was abandoned, its dosimeter indicated that radiation levels inside the number 2 containment vessel were at 250 sieverts an hour. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but 250 is a lot of sieverts.
That's a lot of sieverts. That's off the sievert scale.
Yeah, that's getting intense there. Yeah. In an earlier probe using a remote-controlled camera, radiation at about the same spot was as high as 650 sieverts an hour, which is more than enough to kill a human in a minute. Oh, man. Like, that's the movie I want to see. A bunch of brave robots going down, dying from radiation, just melting. Leave me go, complete the mission.
I wonder what the sievert level is on like the elephant's foot in Chernobyl.
Oh,
because I know it's 3 minutes in front of it, you die.
And you die.
So this has got to be like,
man.
Well, obviously 3 times more.
You know, it's funny. One of these things, and this is an honest question. I've never heard of anybody like committing suicide by radiation. No one's like, I've had enough. I'm gonna go stand in front of the elephant's foot for 3 minutes. Tell my family I hate them. Like, just because you got 3 minutes. Like, it seems better than, you know, somebody's like, I'm going to shoot myself in the garage. Yeah, but in
that 3 minutes, your body is probably like falling apart.
Oh man, it'd be horrible.
Is it something you want your family?
I don't know if that's better than many things.
Well, I would rather clean up a body that had like fallen apart on the inside than like scrub off somebody's teeth and stuff from like the, yeah.
Yeah, but if you go that close to the radiation and melt yourself to death, no one's coming to clean you up.
No, you're just
they're going to let you liquefy.
No, some brave robots are going to come and get you.
Oh, and then they're going to liquefy.
Oh, the Scorpion, though. What a great name for a robot. Man, they should call more things like that. I would think it was cool if I was at the grocery store and those like checkout things, if those were called Scorpions. Nope. I'd be like, damn it, I'm using the Scorpions to check out this sack of potatoes I have.
No, it seems cool, but it's just asking for a bad time, asking for them to turn on you.
It is a little...
Even if they're just the grocery store checkout robots, they're going to turn on you if you call them really cool names.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. Who would have thought the Scorpions would turn on us?
Right?
Yeah.
They seem so nice. They were always our friend.
Remember that? Charlie, I like your logic. They should call them the...
Dave.
Yeah, just Dave... Oh,
the Jerry bots.
The Jerry bots. Yeah. In 2018, with the UK Sun. Actually, sorry. Do you want to explain what the elephant's foot is?
Okay. From what I understand, the elephant's foot is like metal and debris that was near the nuclear reactor
in Chernobyl.
In Chernobyl.
Yeah.
That apparently it melted and became this giant blob that is like since yet hardened and is like the most radiated thing on the earth.
That is so rad. I just like this stuff sounds crazy, and you'll die if you stand in front of it.
Soviet Union.
Yeah, man. In 2018, with the UK Sun, senior nuclear specialist Sean Burney, come on, from Keith Baverstock to Sean Burney from Greenpeace, said the nuclear nightmare continues. That's a pretty great name too. The nuclear nightmare continues. He said They're not following the whole truth either to the 127 million people of Japan or to the rest of the world about the radiation risks in the most contaminated areas of Fukushima. The nuclear crisis is not over. We're only in year 7 of an accident that will continue to threaten public health and the environment for decades and well into the next century. Attempts by the government and the nuclear industry communicate that it is safe and over deliberate deception. If they can create the illusion of the region that has been recovered from the nuclear accident, they'll think it will reduce public opposition. And there's a website called Counterpunch, and there's the writer there claims the Abe administration is talking to Olympic officials about conducting Olympic events like baseball in Fukushima for Tokyo 2020. Are they nuts going off the deep end? Gone mad? Out of control? After all, TEPCO, those motherfuckers, readily admit the Fukushima cleanup will take decades to complete. If ever completed, and I'm reading the quote here, nobody knows the whereabouts of the world's most deadly radioactive blobs of sizzling hot masses of death, rape, and destruction, begging the question, why is there a Chernobyl exclusion zone of 1,000 square miles after one nuclear meltdown 30 years ago, but yet Fukushima, with 3 meltdowns, each more severe than Chernobyl, is already being fucking repopulated? It doesn't compute. So the short answer is the Abe administration claims the radioactivity is being cleaned up. And here's a clip of him being like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're all good. Here you go.
The situation is under control.
A much longer answer eschews, that's a great word, the Abe administration by explaining the near impossibility of cleaning up radioactivity through the countryside. There are, after all, independent organizations with boots on the ground in Fukushima that tell the truth, having measured dangerous levels of radiation throughout the region where cleanup crews supposedly cleaned up. So yeah, that's the Fukushima cover-up.
People are saying that is way more dangerous than what the government is saying it is.
Way more dangerous. Like it's 3 Chernobyls in the same area, and they're like, hey, it's been a year, come on back, get your kids out, go play some frisbee, it's fine.
Grow a 3rd foot.
Yeah, grow a 3rd foot.
Sure.
Get some eyeballs behind your knees.
Yeah. Hey? You'll always be able to see behind your knees.
Yeah, that's where I should be. No, that's messed right up. Yeah, sorry, I'm not offering an opinion.
Yeah, it's not time yet. I meant, keep that bottled up.
I'm just going to hold on
Keep
to
that bottled up in your empty bottle of Hop Pot.
Hop bottled up. We got to include a picture of this in the episode description.
Now, I mostly judge my books by their covers.
Oh.
So
thank you for pointing this out.
This one comes at a sweet. This is a great illustration on the bottle here and on the box. I'm sold already the second it walked through the door.
Charlie likes the box.
Not usually a big IPA guy though.
No.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, it's a little too hoppy.
It's right there in the name though, Hop City. So
yeah.
They did warn us.
I like wine, and if a bottle of wine had like for me, I'm like, that one has, I don't know, Mysterio on it. Like, oh, this one has the Green Lantern core on it. Like, I'm buying that one. So when I see a robot on a beer, I'm like, I don't even care what it tastes like. I'm going to suck it back.
I'm going to suck that robot down.
No, but I got a buddy who had a pet frog, and he named him Hops. And I know, yeah, I was like,
so literal.
Yeah, he's like, I named him Hops because he, and I'm like, wait, don't tell me, because he likes to hop around.
Because he loves IPA.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not an idiot. Anyways. Okay, so we're going to try a new segment here. And this is pretty great. We're going to call it the Mandela Minute, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's only a minute long. Although I do have my timer ready to go. Hup! So I'm just kidding with the timer.
You tapped your watch, though.
I did tap my watch.
It was very official.
Actually, I'll just, you just go ahead and introduce yourself. Maybe explain what the Mandela Minute is, and then we'll just fucking have at her.
You were going on to explain what the Mandela Minute is.
I was going to explain what it is, yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's not going to be a minute, thank God, because to start, I don't think we've actually even talked about the Mandela Minute or effect.
No, so if we explain what the Mandela effect is, and then give one example, and we'll come back with this. This is just a sizzle reel, a teaser.
So Charlie, do you know what the Mandela effect is?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yes or no, Charlie?
Maybe!
This is not a binary world. People can choose.
It's
Anyway, the Mandela effect is what people believe to be two parallel universes interacting.
It's the Berenstain Bears thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Which is the one I'm going to talk about tonight.
Way to go! Spoilers. Let's try this again here without fucking Charlie.
No, I love it. He knew what he was talking about.
I knew it. That's why I said maybe.
And it was the one that had the biggest effect on me because I read the Bernstein Bears as a child. So the theory goes on this effect is that things are changing in the world without us knowing it. And some people are being affected by it and some people are not. And the way I mean affected is that they're remembering it in a certain way, and some people... Oh, man. What did you do to that poor beer?
Yeah, take that whole neck.
All right. So there's so many different types of effects, or the Mandela effect, that I'm going to start with this one, and it is the Bernstein Bears, which it is not the Bernstein Bears. I probably should have brought one of the books. I was thinking about it earlier.
We'll post a picture.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of it.
It is actually the Bernstein Bears. Spelled B. I don't know how the first part is. I think it's BERENSTAIN.
Like stain.
Stain. And I remember it being STEIN. And it's forever changed my life because not even my parents would correct me as a child, and they were the ones reading it to me. So,
man, I was a big fan of the Berenstain Bears when I was a kid, and I was like, I've got a bunch of these. Like when I was about, I don't know, grade 10 or 11, I stopped reading them. My parents put them away in a little box for me, and when they were moving, I'm like, I know where these books are. I heard about that theory. Yeah. So like 20 years later, I went back, opened up the box.
Same.
And it said stain, and I'm like, no.
I almost lost it.
Yeah, it's...
So I did a little bit of research on the Mandela effect in itself. I guess it's a theory that's been around for like more than just a few years, but it's just become popular in the past like 4 or 5. But the Mandela effect, or false memory, as scientists and others are going to call it, kind of came into, or the term was coined in 2009 by a woman named Fiona Broome.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome name. Yeah, she's an author. She writes, I don't know what kind of books she writes. I would assume they're about ghosts and paranormal research and so on and so forth. She seems like a nice lady. She actually does a video for MandelaEffect.com and talks about what the Mandela effect is, different types, so on and so forth. And yeah, if you want, check it out. She seems like a wonderful woman.
We should post a link to that too.
We'll post a link to that. Yeah, that sounds good. And there's a whole bunch of other examples of the Mandela effect.
Oh, there's at least 50 that I found.
Cool. We'll come back to this one. I found a couple the other day, and I was like, that's not true. And then I went back and looked, and I'm like, it's every single one of them. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to give it away, but there's a few about properties near and dear to my heart, and I'm like, that's not a thing.
Park Place.
Yeah, Park Place. Full House, Friends, just beloved classics from my childhood. And I'm like, what? What do you mean Jesse had a mullet the whole time? But that's the kind of thing it is. Actually, the weird thing is, I don't want to give it away, but there's like, did you know that like so-and-so had like a prosthetic leg, or like, you know, this robot had like a weird like silver arm, and you're like, no, that's not true. And then, yep, childhood crushed. That's a Mandela Minute.
Are we allowed to talk about what our theories are on the Mandela Minute, or should we wait until?
Let's wait until opinion time, because I have a couple. Yeah, that's we're gonna come into that with the interdimensional portals of the. We might not be living in the Earth that we thought we were in, and that might be because we are a bunch of redhead. Well, our pubic hair, anyways. We could be in a new place, man. Not to use myself as an example, but yeah, I don't know what world I'm in right now. But we could be in redheaded pube world, so we might not be where we thought we were. Charlie, you should probably edit that part out.
I will definitely edit that part out.
All right. So our next section here is called Keanu Reeves is an ageless and immortal being of pure light and benevolence.
I promise I will never die.
He is a wonderful man, though. He has had a hard life.
We're going to talk about this. This beer is 7.1%. I feel like it's
kicking in.
Kicking in. Canadian actor Keanu Reeves is an ageless and immortal being of pure light and benevolence. Over the years, he has realized the value of generosity, often giving his film earnings to crews or donating to charities anonymously. And he once claimed, Money's the last thing I think about. I could live on what I have already made for the next few centuries. Which means you're an immortal being, obviously.
Not a rich and famous actor.
Not a rich and famous actor who made a lot of money. Yeah, whoa.
Well, have you ever heard of any poor immortal?
You know, that's an interesting thing because there's Highlander.
Yeah, but how many of them were poor? Like, they didn't.
But he's not luxurious. It's not like a Bill Gates thing. Yeah. I don't know. Have you seen Highlander?
I fucking love Highlander.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Christopher Lambert?
It's so great.
Oh, can't even speak English.
He doesn't. Okay. And he's the Scottish guy. And then the Scottish guy in the movie is playing a Spanish guy. And it's like... And there's that weird homophobic part in the beginning where he's like, you want to go on a date? And the cop's like, I'll fucking kill you! Yeah. Okay, anyways, Charlie, you should probably edit this part out again. This hot pot is a rich brew of... okay, wow, just letting all it out. Okay, that is in the movie, though. Like, they were going to make a remake with Ryan Reynolds, which is kind of an odd choice, but maybe that's cool.
Oh, man, go back to the original television. I love that TV series, man.
With
Adrian Paul.
Yeah. And that movie with him... There can be only one. That was great.
But anyway, sorry.
The two of them fought in one of, I think it's Highlander 5.
Endgame,
yeah, so good. More like Rad Game. Okay, yeah, so Keanu Reeves made a cryptic thing about saying how he could live for centuries on his money. Further evidence for this theory. Okay, this is going to sound odd, but I'm going to come back to it. His beard has negative zones on either side of the soul patch and is scraggly. Number 2, he mastered Kung Fu and a series of other martial arts in a matter of months.
Whoa, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And number 3, he really hasn't aged since filming Speed. I put that about 1994, I feel, somewhere in there. And he just kind of stayed same age. Now, one begs the question with an immortal being, well, why are we just hearing about him now? And the truth is, Keanu Reeves, I'm just going to keep calling him Keanu Reeves.
I'm sorry, like, what was this thing about his beard? Like, you talked about it was...
I said I'll come back to it later, man. Okay. Holy.
Sorry.
Jeez, Charlie's usually the one rushing ahead.
Well, you mentioned it. You said didn't go anywhere with it.
No, I know. Like, it's going to come. I'm going to come back to it. Okay, now. Anyway, so why are we just hearing about him now? I'm going to call him Keanu Reeves because this is his most recent one. His Keanuist. Hey. So in the past, he was once the great Emperor Charlemagne in 800 AD, notable for starting up the Holy Roman Empire. Big fan. Spreading Christianity through the known world. I don't know about the generosity on that part. He has since learned the value of charity and brotherhood since slaughtering millions in the quest for worldwide dominance. Now, Charlemagne died of an inflammation of the chest cavity, and which is a weird thing for that time in 800 AD. If you had a horrible disease, it would be really obvious from the outside. But he had like this weird thing inside, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's fine." And then he's like, "I don't feel so good." He lies down, dies, and everyone's like, "I thought he was fine. He looked great." And he was entombed above ground, and years later, an Ottoman emperor went to visit the grave, looked inside, and his body hadn't decayed whatsoever. So it was more like a hibernation thing. This could mean that Keanu Reeves is like, pops up every 27 years, eats a bunch of kids, goes into hibernation, comes back later on. In portraits, Charlemagne has a very Keanu Reeves face and, most tellingly, a scraggly beard with negative zones on either side of the soul patch. Okay. I'll include the picture in the episode description. Beards are a thing. Like fingerprints, those can be burned off or manipulated, but where your beard grows in, that's a thing.
Fingerprints grow back, though.
Fingerprints, did they grow back the exact same?
Well, I wouldn't, like,
I'm wiggling my thumb at you
as a chef. I've burned my hands multiple times, and like it grows back unless you cut it off.
You sound like Greg is grossly deformed. He's like,
well, there was like a good 3-4 years when I first started cooking where I looked like a leper. It was not good. And then you realize like burning yourself sucks, and it's like, oh, I don't have to do this.
Man. I straight up just had an image of that at the end of RoboCop when that dude got all toxic waste burned and was like stumbling around in the parking lot, and the guy just. And it looks like someone just threw a bag of soup on the windshield. So gross. Oh, wow.
Such a good movie.
It is such a good movie. Yeah. Another cautionary tale, I'd say, right there. In 19th century, Keanu. Okay, Keanu.
Wait, do you just not actually know how to say his name?
I'm not exactly
Keanu
sure.
Reeves?
No, Reeves is fine. Reeves is fine.
Is the Keanu part?
It's looking at it.
Keanu.
The weird way it's spelled, every time I'm looking at it, I'm like, my mouth says it one way, and then my brain says, no. So Keanu, is that it? That's it? Yeah, okay.
it.
Nailed it.
I'm going to have to copy that and edit it to all of the other parts.
I'll give you a couple clean ones here. Keanu. He again popped up as French actor and Dr. Paul Mounet, who has a scraggly beard with negative zones on either side of the soul patch. I'm putting my fingers on the side of my chin, which in some cultures has
By negative zones, he means like no hair.
No hair. Like there's no hair like right here. And I'm, tapping when you're making this signal for whatever. For fangs, we'll say. Yikes. Yeah. Feed me. And here goes the food. So Paul Mounet also had the negative zones. And when Paul Mounet died, his body disappeared. And we'll include his body or his picture in the description as well. I mean, you just kind of, you don't have the wah. Like there was a little while where they were like, oh, it's sad Keanu. And it's like he was sitting in like a park with like a dog, like grass clippings blowing by. And it's like, that's really nice. He's thinking about things. Maybe he's going into hibernation again. Maybe he's killed enough children and it's time to go back down to
bringing that part up?
Because that's what the clown does, man. Trying to make a newer reference here.
The clown.
The guy from It. What?
Okay, it's not a newer reference.
Yeah, man.
There was a movie last year. You got creepy clown, benevolent being, immortal, pure light,
Giant spider.
Oh yeah, negative zone with the on his face.
The clown.
Yeah, I know the clown, just the scary clown. Yeah. All right. Well then, lads, do you guys know what time it is?
Oh shit!
It's opinion time. Yay!
Opinion time, opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time. Opinion time, opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time.
So for opinion time, I want to try something a little different. Let's use a rating system, and this isn't too definitive, but number 1, yes, absolutely, this is true. 2, maybe plausible. 3, probably, but I wish it was. 4, probably not. 5, absolutely not. So just the and I'll recount those again. Or we'll come back to the rating system when we do the individual theories. Okay, so let's recount the theories here. Charlie, do you remember what the first theory we talked about?
The first one was ancient aliens.
Mm-hmm. Ancient aliens with
George Tsoukalos.
With I'm not. Come on, look at this. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm not sure that's his last name.
No, I was going to say with red pubic hair. Come on.
Sorry. No, I thought you were talking about the show.
Oh, yeah. The
15
show is,
seasons.
Yeah.
Come on.
Man, apparently when that book first came out, people were like, this nut job. And now there's like a show about it. And everybody's like, Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens has been on for like a decade now.
Yeah.
But even that, like the book came out 68. So that's 50 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
I think there was more. There was a few scientists who had alluded to it beforehand, but didn't get into it like as in depth and I don't want to say crazy because he might not be crazy, but as in
We'll get into that. Yeah.
far reaching of his ideas.
There's some interesting ideas there for sure. Greg, do you remember the second theory that we discussed here?
The Fukushima cover-up.
Fukushima cover-up. Okay, and then Andrew, do you remember the? Yep. Keanu Reeves is an immortal clown from space that kills kids, and no, he's an immortal being, benevolent and pure light. Okay, so what do you guys think about ancient aliens here?
I'm all in on that one.
You're all in. Oh, and we talked about. We'll come back to the Mandela minute. We'll do that after the end here.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Charlie, I interrupted you.
I'm all in on that one.
On ancient aliens.
On ancient aliens. I've seen enough of those episodes. The proof is out there.
That's all you needed.
I've seen all those pictures, all the stone carvings, all the old paintings where it looks like it's a person just crouched in a vehicle ship. That's like a spaceship. And well, what else is that they're painting? Mm-hmm. What else is it? Yeah. What is it, Andrew?
How
do you make a Stonehenge, Andrew?
That's an interesting question. What do you think, Greg?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to say I'm with Charlie on this one. I think it's very plausible. I'm gonna have to go like 1.5 on that one.
Like you're saying, Charlie's saying yes, absolutely, this is true. You're saying maybe plausible.
Maybe plausible, just because there's so many good stories about shit that happened back then. Where you're like, man,
yeah,
the fact that they're like people were flying. Okay, they're not like people. There's these gods looked like people
and had red pubic hair.
Okay, you're
really fixating on that part.
Just saying.
You really want that part to work.
Kind of a thing. No big deal.
Right? So I don't know. I think it's very real. Like one of my favorite things when I was growing up was like Greek mythology. Those guys were the coolest. They had so much, and they talked a lot about interbreeding. And like,
absolutely,
Zeus had so many illegitimate children with humans. It's not even like ridiculous.
Charlie also has a lot of illegitimate children
with humans.
With humans and with pet humans. Store. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I really like Ancient Aliens. I hesitate to call it a conspiracy. I don't know. It can't be a proven theory because we just don't know.
It would definitely fall into this sort of the alternative.
Yeah,
like revisionist
fringe science. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot there, and I'm not opposed to the existence of aliens or contact with ancient civilizations, but it's almost the exact same logic as like, well, humans couldn't have done it, so it had to be magical gods and goddesses. Humans did it, but they're like they couldn't have done it on their own.
Yeah.
And I think that right now we're in this weird thing where we're like, we think we are so smart. And the thing is, there could be like a nuclear apocalypse tomorrow. Fukushima kills us all. And then...
Well, Fukushima 2, Electric Boogaloo.
5,000 years, they come back and they're like, look at the, like, what's that thing called? The funicular in Edmonton? They're like, look at this. Funicular. How could anyone make that?
And it's like, destroyed it.
Yeah, they're like, well, it must have been that they had aliens because they couldn't have thought of that stuff. I feel like it's a bit of a, like, I'm not saying that because, okay, it's hard to imagine how, like, there's pre-Incan pyramids, and it's hard to date because they're rocks, so it could be they're old to begin with. It's hard, you can't exactly say when but one of the theories from these guys is how ancient these pyramids are. They're like, well, how did they move them? Or the Easter Island heads came from a quarry like 90 kilometers away or whatever. And it's like, yeah, so there's a mystery of how they did it, but that doesn't mean that humans didn't have the ingenuity to do it. Like, that's where I'm like, before we just assume it's aliens, let's think like maybe they were really smart and just thought of something. So I don't know.
In those paintings, are you saying you think they were just like tripping balls?
Well, okay,
and painted some crazy shit.
One of the things that the book of Revelation is interesting for. Just if you guys want to talk about Christianity real briefly.
I love Christianity.
It's full of imagery where it's like a sword flew through the sky and dropped spears that sang songs and volcanoes just spewing whatever into the sky. So it's hard to say what they were seeing, and so they're trying to put into their terms what they saw, and it sounds like they're like, actually, you saw a 767 hitting a blah blah blah. So it might not have been a sword, but if you didn't know what a building looked like, you'd think it was a big sword or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you'll find those like stories and myths in like religions and stories for cultures that were way older than Christianity.
I'm not saying it's unique to Christianity. I mean, it's that we even if we see something, we have a revelation. It doesn't necessarily mean like the people that drew what looks to us like a helicopter. It could have been, crazy guy went on a little bender and he got stuck in the peach tree and fell down the hill. Or it could be some legend about like the bubble boy who came and he had some kind of horrible immunity disease or something like that. Or
it could be straight up time travel. It could be a helicopter.
Could be a helicopter. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna give this one I wish it was But I don't know, man. That's a hard one because one of the things is like people are they're lumping in other things into it. Like obviously redheaded people are magical beings. That's real. Like that's a thing. But a pyramid coming out of Antarctica.
Okay,
it's
so
like a mountain.
Now,
it's a mountain.
hold on. Are there pictures? Does it look like a pyramid or does it look like a mountain?
Okay, so
It's going to look like one of two things. It's either going to look like it was constructed meticulously, or it's going to look like a pile of stone.
Okay, so have you seen the pictures of the pyramid on the moon?
No.
It's like a worn down pyramid. People are like, look. Pyramids are actually it's a really cool shape, but it's not a shape that like it appears in nature all the time. Mm-hmm. So here's a quote from this guy who was writing this website about. I'll include the link in the episode description. So his quote was on the pyramid in Antarctica. It's not a complicated shape, so it's not a special coincidence. By definition, it is a nunatak, which is simply a peak of rock sticking out above a glacier or an ice sheet. This one has the shape of a pyramid, but that doesn't make it a human construction. So if Prometheus taught us anything, it's that God doesn't build in straight lines, except that God sometimes does because there's things like pyramids in nature. So yeah, Prometheus didn't teach us anything. That movie sucks. No,
Prometheus, I thought was pretty good, man.
Oh, what? This podcast is over.
It teaches you that when a giant thing is falling on you to run directly straight away.
Oh,
so wear your spacesuit and that atmosphere that's not good for you.
Man.
I think one thing we didn't mention in Ancient Aliens is the Nazca lines.
The Nazca lines. Okay, if you care to go ahead and there's so many things in that I didn't even get a chance. No, because that's something that we were talking about on the way over here. But go ahead and.
Well, I don't know everything about the Nazca lines, but they are lines that have been drawn into the earth that are huge, like miles.
South America, yeah,
miles gigantic. In South America. That are miles long and that show images up into the sky that can only be seen from people that are flying or at an elevation to see what the image is.
Right.
And there's like, 5, 6 of them.
There's a bunch of them. But then again, that's like people do weird things in weird places. And it isn't necessarily meant to be like, I guess.
Well, they got that guy waving.
Yeah, they got a guy waving. And it's almost
his head looks really fucking weird.
Right. But like the Great Wall of China is visible from space.
But it's a wall.
It's a wall. Yeah.
That was built to like keep Mongols out of China.
It is. Or if you saw the Matt Damon movie, to keep monsters out. Did you guys see that movie? It's a great movie. It's better than Prometheus.
Not a big fan of Matt Damon.
What?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here? He was so great in Ragnarok. That like brief cameo. I was like, it's Matt Damon.
Because it was very brief.
Matt Damon. Yeah, okay, one thing here that I have to include is that, so the Ancient Aliens, the first draft of the publication had been rejected by, like, everybody. And what was the guy's name again? Von Gunk. His book was extensively rewritten by the editor. Oh, this is a great name. Wilhelm Rogersdorf, which is a pen name of the German screenwriter Wilhelm Utz Utermann. Utermann had been a Nazi best-selling author and has held a leading position with the I'm just going to butcher this, Völkischer Beobachter. So I'm not exactly sure what the last word means. It might mean like folk singing group for puppies and blind children. I don't know, but it sounds scary. Völkischer Beobachter. Yeah. So the guy, there's a lot of stuff about Nazis having a secret base in Antarctica, even still, like having like they're all down there. They got that, and then they're like, oh, Hitler went to South America, and the aliens.
This is a pyramid. Oh, that makes perfect sense now.
What's that?
Their base is that pyramid.
So that's one of the theories.
That's exactly what it is.
And or they like repurposed an existing pyramid. The aliens are like,
oh yeah, that's
here's
true.
Some
they probably
weapons.
Moved in and they were like, hey, got this sweet pyramid. Nobody's using it. Hitler, get in here.
Totally, get in here. Yeah. Let's start the Fourth Reich, which is another theory, which goes to the New World Order theory, the reptile people, everything. There's really no tactical advantage in having a secret base in Antarctica other than
it's far away from people.
It's far away from and a secret.
And a secret.
Yeah. But there's no world claiming it, so it's like basically just a big unclaimed.
Like, why did Superman have his stupid base in the middle of nowhere?
Because he could hear and
Fortress
see everything.
of solitude.
He needed
To stay away from
quiet
everyone.
and visual. He should have laser-eyed a big hole in the ground and gone down to the Earth's core where it was nice
done
and quiet.
fishing.
Yeah, and gone fishing.
But then he wouldn't get the radiation from the sun,
Yeah, he would need the radiation from the sun.
which is kind of a new thing, I guess. Eh?
Man, that part where he rips off the S and throws it at that guy in the one movie, it's like, when did he ever have that power?
Oh, that was in 4.
In two.
Was it in 2?
They're in the Fortress of Solitude, and like one of the scary Kryptonian bad guys are coming
It was
after
like
him.
one that couldn't talk, right?
The mute just and he's like, oh, he must be scary, he's a mute. And
He's
so
very
he throws,
strong, but he's
throws
very
the S
stupid.
at him, and it's like, that's not a
It was like a gladiator with his trident and net.
Sorry, I really took that off the path.
oh man.
I'm sorry I brought up Superman. I know that's
Never apologize for bringing up Superman. He's great. Let's hope those movies get better.
Another ancient alien.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Oh, there
right?
it is.
An alien. And
Not so off the path.
yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've covered ancient aliens with red pubic hair from Antarctica.
Wait, to imply
Sorry,
they're from
I really gotta. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you say it like that, it just sounds silly.
Yeah, it does sound silly. What is the movie where Superman? They're like in the Superman Museum, and there's like one single hair holding up like a big weight. That's right.
That's the third one with Richard Pryor.
That's a pubic hair. Holding up the weight of his balls.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not. Yeah. So Fukushima cover up there, gents. Charlie, you want to take
Synopsize that again?
So there was basically 3 Chernobyls and
And the government says it's fine.
and they're like, we're gonna build
Oh, no, it's
a
cool.
whole bunch
It's
of
cool.
more nuclear power
Just
plants.
come on back.
Don't worry about it.
top of it.
Here's some money. Come on back. Bring your kids to the to the park. We'll have some radiation dog thing. Some weird
radiation
3-eyed
dogs.
fish. Yeah. It's an odd one. I feel like there is, so Japan has, it's a great country, but it so I lived there a little while, and I'm really biased on this one, but they don't have a lot of natural resources in terms of energy. Like, they have to bring in a lot of their energy sector stuff. So I can see the appeal of them being like, we have nuclear power plants, we don't need to depend on the rest of the world for our energy needs. And that's a thing there, man. Like, that's a real thing. But yeah, covering up a nuclear power plant, being like, no, it's fine, just come on back. Like, I'm
trying to
giving
remember the
that
name
one a
of it.
hard yes. I'm like, that absolutely is true. Like, they are covering it up. They're lying about it. There's probably been millions of affected people by it. Like, the tsunami was a great way to be like, sure, like something like 19,000 people died in the tsunami, and it would be really easy to be like lumping in all those people that were affected by the radiation as well. Be like, oh, and like 600. It's like the what did we talk about? Where the World Trade Center, the main story was the Twin Towers, and then Building 7 fell down. So the main story was the tsunami and the nuclear meltdown, but it would be easy to put the fatalities from the nuclear meltdown in with the thousands of tsunami victims.
I know this has nothing to do with the episode, but that thing about the towers you were talking about, this is the first time that I had ever heard that there was a third tower that fell.
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah.
I was a child when it happened. So when I assumed people talked about like how it was a conspiracy, I thought it was like the 2 towers themselves. I had no idea there was a third.
Yep, there was. Well, it wasn't. It was. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a tower, but that was in episode 2 that Greg's talking about, where we talked about World Trade Center 7. And normally I'm like, no, I'm like, it's actually kind of hard for me to buy into like mass conspiracies, but with this one, I'm like, I can definitely see the Japanese government and maybe not the UN and the World Health Organization, but the Japanese government definitely being like, I think it's going to be okay, everybody.
Now, there's this show on Netflix right now. I think it's called Dark Tourist, where this guy goes to all these different, dark tourist type places, and at least one of the times he goes somewhere. I'm not great at remembering the exact facts, but I think he goes somewhere in like Japan or something like that. Somewhere where there's a large amount of radiation, where people probably shouldn't be, and there are dead zones where, you know, you can walk down a street, but you can't cross the road or go over there because the radiation's too much, right?
The sieverts.
Yeah, and he goes in there, and they go to some orphanages and things like that, and they see all these affected children who were in the area. And I mean, like, there's no way that it's safe to be there.
A year later,
or smart to be there, or in any way good to be there.
There's no one in Chernobyl now. No one's like, we're not going to repopulate the city. It's abandoned. And yet in Japan, they're like in the Okuma. I actually want to make sure I'm saying that right. It's in the Fukushima. So Fukushima is like the province, and the city is Okuma, and that's where the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was. So. Like it's not the entire.
The episode I was watching was in Fukushima,
right?
So it's like directly about this. Yeah.
In the prefect, they call them prefectures in Japan. So the Fukushima is not the entire prefecture, but that part of the city. So on that map, there would be like your dead zone,
right?
Where you're like, you're gonna die in a minute, and then it's like you're gonna die in 10 minutes, and then you're gonna die in an hour.
Some time.
You got a year.
You can make a phone call.
Yeah. Don't have any kids, but you got 2 years.
Oh no!
Don't start watching Breaking Bad,
or just really binge the fuck out of it. like you're gonna do anyways.
You'll never see the end of Game of Thrones.
What a horrible way to die.
Oh,
how's the vote on this one going? If we think it was a cover up,
okay. So 1, yes, absolutely, this is true. 2,
it absolutely was a cover up. Or they are trying to cover it up.
They're covering it up.
Oh yeah,
they're lying. Yeah,
totally one.
Maybe plausible, possible, but I wish it was. Probably not. Absolutely not.
I say totally one. Yeah, and they just want money. You know, they just want commerce. They just want money. They just want people to come back,
and they want to have power for the country. Like, they want to be like, they don't want to keep buying everything. We want to be self-sufficient. They're an island, and they've had a long culture of self-sufficiency, but they've got a huge population, and they have to buy all their energy. So it's, yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Greg?
I'm a total one, man. Yeah, government, don't trust them for one, and
they should just go solar.
Yeah.
Well, solar's a hard one, man. Solar. We're gonna talk about solar power in further episodes, but there are so many conspiracies about solar and the lobbyists against it. Probably heard the solar power does this, and like it's sucking energy out of the sun, and it's going to make the sun die faster if we all have solar panels, which is ridiculous. But
isn't that what plants do? Should we stop planting trees?
Stop planting trees.
Fuck those trees, man.
But there's a myth out there about the sun being drained of its energy by solar panels. So I know.
Can't wait to get to that one.
Right, and Superman, if he proved anything, it's that you can suck the sun all you like. Just go ahead and edit that part out again. That'd be great.
Doesn't matter how much you suck the sun, it's not going to make your movies any better.
Justice League was no good. Holy man, that movie was terrible.
I like Superman 1, like the original one.
Oh,
and maybe
Christopher Reeves
2 is pretty good. But like that's it for me.
Except for the
I'm
S
out.
thing, man.
No,
So
they can't do the rest of them. I'm out.
Isn't there like 2 versions of the Superman too?
There is.
There's
There
a
is.
dark version with the original director.
So there was
I don't remember his name.
the guy that did the X-Men movies, Richard Donner, did Superman 2 shortly after Superman 1, and then the studio was like, "This is crap. We're gonna bring in another guy who was already half done." And so it was the version that we saw. And then even then, like I remember the version I saw of Superman 2, I remember watching it, and when I was a kid so remember there was like Zod?
Neil before Zod.
Yeah, Neil, and then he snaps his wrist. Oh, I love that part. Okay, anyways,
it was awesome.
Because he's got his powers back. It's like, yeah. Not that Superman should be snapping powerless people's wrists, but yeah, that part was just awesome. So Zod, like, he's like, got you now, and Superman like flips him into that like canyon full of mist, and he falls to his death. You know. But the version I saw when I was a kid, I've looked it up later on. It's a thing. The Superman, there's a clip of Zod, like the cops, like, watch your head, and like putting him in the back of a car and like taking him to jail. Yeah, I know.
Watch your head.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so this must be the clean version.
It's like the cleaned up TV version where it's like Superman didn't kill anybody. He threw him in the bottomless pit, went down and got him. So it's okay. He had his broken wrist.
He had a trial.
Yeah, he had a trial. Yeah. Due process. The lady with or the guy that got attacked by the big S.
Just deport him back to Krypton. We don't want
Go
him.
back to your country.
We're building him a space wall.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Now, the Mandela Minute. What do we want to say about the Mandela Minute here? Because I'm
the Mandela effect. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, like I said, this Bernstein Bears had such a huge impact on me at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I was also probably had smoked a joint when I found out about it. So
that shit blew your mind.
Kinda, yeah. But also, yeah, I remember talking to my dad about it, and he was like, "No, it's Bernstein." And I'm like, "You're wrong, old man."
I hate to tell you, pops.
Yeah.
So if we are living in a universe of, they say there's infinite timelines, but our reality is constantly kind of shifting to the one that's on the best course, like a big stream, and we're like, oh, we're going this way, oh, we're over here, over here.
Yeah.
Zipping around. Every once in a while, there's going to be little glitches like this. This is kind of where if the Mandela effect is a thing, this is where I'm like, yeah, they got most of it right, but they're like, whoops.
Well, I love some of
Bernstein-
the, what they think some of the causes are for it, time travelers.
I was
is
just
one
going
of
to say
them.
it could be
Yeah.
time travel.
Time
and then
travelers for one.
They,
Right.
do something to the time stream, and then it's correcting itself. So
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
it's been so many years, whatever.
And
Another one
that
is,
was the best case scenario. They're like,
Yeah.
sure, we stopped the evil reptile overlords, and the only consequence, hilariously, is everyone's going to remember about a family of bears having
the
a different
wrong
spelling.
fucking name.
Yeah. And yeah, right. If that's the only consequence, that's okay. That's better than
it's just going to really mess up
Well,
a couple
that's
of
not
guys
the only
doing a podcast.
but that's not the only consequence though, because it's called the Mandela effect for a reason. Right?
Right. And some people are impervious to it because I know people that are like, no, it was always Berenstain. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
And that's where, because
And I
there's
didn't wanna get into
so
other
many
examples,
people
but-
on both sides that it's like,
There was an example you listed a little while ago. I was talking to a fellow nerd, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a thing." And I don't want to get into it, but we'll talk about it later on. But it was a certain someone holding a certain thing, doing certain stuff.
In a certain show?
Yeah, on a certain
Yeah,
show.
okay, I remember
And
this.
he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And I'm like, "You do not, you liar!"
See,
And
when I found out about that, I had to go back to, and when I saw it, I was so angry.
it's the weirdest thing in the
But
world. We got to come back to that.
I don't think that's a
sizzler.
I don't think that's a Mandela effect though.
Sizzler!
I think it's just because it was such a small thing, nobody noticed.
Sizzler!
Whatever, man. Mandela effect. I think we redeemed ourselves on that one.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, Keanu Reeves is immortal, being of pure light and benevolence.
I'd have to see the pictures.
So, okay, first of all, the claim was he hasn't aged since Speed.
Mm-hmm.
Behold.
I believe that one.
Look at that.
Fuck that.
His eyes got smaller.
It was like, come on, look at that Adam's apple, all wrinkly, crow's feet.
His
Come on.
ocular sockets are shrinking.
He's aged slightly.
Look at that
It's because
head-
he's Canadian and we
that
just have
head of hair.
amazing genetics.
It's
Yeah.
I can get behind that. That's,
He's going into hibernation. It's been almost 27 years. Okay, so this is a picture of Charlemagne beside a picture of Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Man, I'm having a hard time with that.
How's
okay.
that hard for
it's this beer is 7.1%, and I'm getting scooshed. All right, here we go. Okay, so for those who doubt the Charlemagne Keanu Reeves, behold,
That's a painting.
Nah, I don't see it.
I didn't have cameras in 800 AD, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't like that painting looks way more recent than what something would be at that time.
All right.
What did you say? 800 AD?
Oh, ye of little faith.
I don't know, man.
You said 800.
There's
AD.
the-
That was 800 AD.
Come on,
Okay,
have
so
you not
there's-
seen pictures of like the Merovingians? It looks like
there's Paul Mounet, the French actor and doctor.
Okay, is this an actual picture
This is
or painting?
it's another painting.
Or is it drawing?
No, it's
is it
a-
MS Paint?
It's a very accurate picture. Okay, for those who doubt,
It's a portrait.
behold.
Yeah.
Look at that. Negative zone beside the soul patch.
I mean, they look similar.
Looks, man. This looks like Point Break.
It looks like, Point Break.
Shooting his gun up in the sky. No.
Johnny Utah.
Oh man, that movie's so good. Okay, and then there's one last one here that I thought was really funny. For those of you aware of Hamlet, the popular character from Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. Come on. That's a little joke. There's a picture of Hamlet holding a ball in a really weird way. And then there's a picture of Keanu Reeves also holding a ball in a really weird way. Okay, so those of
Is
you
it the same weird way?
It's the same weird way.
Is it the same ball?
It might even be the same ball. Okay, so here we'll put this in the description as well. Okay, so for those of you who doubt that he is Hamlet and holds balls really weird, behold.
He's holding like a scepter and a ball thing, and I just wanted to compare it.
He's playing baseball.
That's not the same way.
He's throwing a fucking...
Nobody holds a ball
a
like
knuckleball.
that.
I don't know.
He's about to pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
I'm not buying this.
Fake
one.
news.
Look, I was all in on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
And the Fukushima.
I'm not trying to sell you guys on this, but that is
This
real.
one, I'm not into.
The photos, though, I don't know. That's the second one. What, Monet or...
Monet.
Monet.
Yeah, Monet was the painter.
Big Mooney.
Yeah.
But there's also a painter named Mooney, isn't there?
Oh, there might be. I don't know.
Who cares? Yeah. I'm gonna say no. I'm a 5 on this
This one's
one.
a hard 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a hard 5 myself, but that's, that's all right. It's something that I wish was true. It's super cool, and I love how Keanu Reeves is like.
Look, there is something in the fact that if you look at the roles he's played throughout, his career, he's been in Wild Stallions, he's been the Neo,
Yeah,
The one.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing that he's been typecast as this sort of a person.
And he has a scraggly beard with 2 negative zones.
Yeah, you really like that negative zone thing.
It's just,
I think he just likes to finger.
Yeah, he
I
likes
just
the
like to finger in my
motion.
mouth. All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the show for this month. Thanks so much for listening. Apologies to Charlie for having to edit the schmuckers out of this one. If
I'm just going to leave it
Yeah.
the way it is.
I think it'd be great.
If you're looking to find us, then please check out It's a Conspiracy! On SoundCloud, YouTube, Libsyn Classic Feed, Overcast, Pocket Cast, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and hopefully Spotify soon. I'm not sure why Spotify doesn't want to be a part of Team Friends, but yeah.
Part of the conspiracy.
It's
New
that
World
is
Order,
so
baby.
wild. Get in touch with us at itsaconspiracy@protonmail.com. Follow us at Is It a Conspiracy on Twitter.
Now, see, that's confusing. Is there a question mark in there?
No, sorry. Follow us at Is It a Conspiracy on
That
Twitter.
still sounded like a question.
Oh, sorry. Follow us at Is It a Conspiracy on Twitter. What?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay, sure.
Practice for the next time.
Man. Charlie, where can they find you online?
Oh, you just go to oldmandesign.com.
I'm so sorry.
Wow. Wow. That was hoppy.
Sorry about that, man. I apologize. Let's try that again here. So where can I...
Just hop on over to oldmandesign.com for all your graphic design and illustration needs. Whew, if we can get it together, maybe by the time this next episode comes out, we might even have some It's a Conspiracy merch.
We do.
We do.
Yeah. If you head
But
to,
we might even have some up on oldmandesign.com.
oldmandesign.com. Yeah, for sure. And that if you want to get some, we'll have some on TeePublic. And there was another one that was going to be... I don't know.
Look, friends, let's be safe. Just come on down to oldmandesign.com.
Buy
Come
some
to the
stuff.
shop, check out some stuff. Hey, you want some stuff made? You want to make some tinfoil hats? Keep Andrew out of your brainwaves, keep his red puby thoughts out of your head.
Wait a minute. What? Is royal red-blooded?
Just come on down and check it out and drop me a line
before
and
me.
we'll get you sorted out.
Kneel before Scott.
Is there any social media stuff you'd like to talk about or point out, or?
I don't know. We don't have an Instagram.
No. There's not. There's it's on the way. We've got the Twitter.
We'll figure it out.
Got the Twitters. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming by, and we will be back on October 1st. There's going to be a special Halloween episode, and then there's going to be 2 episodes in October, and then right after Halloween, as per the usual, is November 1st. So it'll be whole bunch coming at you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
See you next time.
Bye.